No, dude, no! No! I can't believe they lost again! You can't? Oh, I hate the last LFR video of the season every year! When am I even gonna see you again? On this channel? Probably when everybody gets fired. Let's go! Good. We all feel good. Stop! Never gets rusty! What am I doing? Into my kitchen! Producer Drew, can you fix all this? And when it comes to the Toronto Maple Leafs, you can crumple, yeet! Saw that going differently.
With you wherever you are, welcome to LFR.
Iggy, this isn't a victory puppy treat. You just deserve it. I'm half convinced the Leafs are trying to see you die of starvation. Dude, I love you. Okay. All right. I don't need consolation anyway. It's cool. It's great.
Oh, hello. Hey, how you doing?
Hello! Hi! Once again, it's funny. Every year, this video, every year! You know, it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure when the Leafs get eliminated from the playoffs. It's always a lot of pressure because suddenly this channel, it gets good viewership. It does pretty well. It does pretty well. Like, I'm not a rich man, but sometimes me and my wife, we buy organic bananas. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? We do okay. But every year, when the Leafs get eliminated, 250,000 people show up. Like a decent-sized Canadian city. All you can do, here's your tax. Here's your payment. All right? You sicko! Here watching this! This is all I ask you to do! Click like, click subscribe, and tell all your friends. Producer Drew, who edits these videos, I'm going to do my best. This is just going to be off of the dome. Off of the top of the dome. Freestyling. Off from memory. From nothing. I don't even know from what. Because here's the thing. All day, I was thinking about what I would say when the Leafs won. All day. And I thought to myself, is this arrogance? Is this just me assuming the Leafs would win? No! Because I'm not nuts. I'm not nuts, all right? I know what I'm talking about. I know who the Leafs are. Famously, actually, I was thinking about what I would say today when the Leafs won all day, and I didn't realize until just now why that is. Because I had to think about it. I don't have to think about this. I don't even have any notes in front of me. I haven't even watched the highlights back. Saw a couple clips on Twitter. I'm still calling it Twitter. I'm never going to call it X. I am not even going to watch the highlights back. I don't have to. I'm a historian. I know this. I know this team. Boston Bruins fans, I know your team. Ooh. Ooh. You know the narrative change was right there too. You know it was right there. Oh, you know it was right there. I was going to take a crown. I was going to take an actual crown and hand it to you. Because it would be the Leafs as like the all-time chokers, right? But the Bruins become the first team in North American sports history to blow a 3-1 series lead in back-to-back years. Anybody can do that in 1 year, the Leafs. But it takes a truly special team. It's never happened in the history of hockey, baseball, basketball on this continent. And the Bruins, one goal away from doing it. But you didn't. You didn't. Because the Boston Bruins win 2-1 in overtime of Game 7 against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Oh, I just remembered something that I have to do. You're not going to believe it. You're not going to believe it. You're not going to. Because. I forgot. Hey, did that loss hurt? Oh, I bet it did. Well, let me tell you about injuryassist.ca, who this video is brought to you by. If you've been injured in a car accident or a slip and fall in the last 2 years, you may be able to get more compensation and money for your injuries than you realize. Did you know the average personal injury case settles for around $30,000? And even the small cases often settle for $10,000 or more? If you want to find out if you're able to get compensation, visit injuryassist.ca or scan the QR code or click the link in the description. Fill out a quick form and get connected with a lawyer for a free consultation. The best part is you don't have to pay the lawyers unless you win your cash. This is the best ad read of all time, I'm sorry. Injury Assist has lawyers across Canada to help you right now. The longer you wait to call, the less money you'll get. And if you wait too long, you might not be able to get anything at all. And then it says, I know we're all psyched / disappointed about the Leafs. It's disappointed. I know we're all disappointed about the Leafs, but this is important. So go check out injuryassist.ca or click the link below and find out if you can get money for your injuries today. That's INJURYASSIST.ca. Now to talk about that game, and can I tell you while I was looking down at my phone what I just read? From Luke Fox, Jim Montgomery got encouragement from John Cooper and advice from Mike Babcock before Game 7! Oh, I found the hammer! Oh my... what was that website again? Injuryassist.ca. Got it. Oh, tears in my eyes. Listen, Leaf fans, we all know what's going on here. This is a eulogy. This is a eulogy for the Leafs. Bruins fans, listen, this was a very different series from series in years past. And in some series in years past, there have been a lot of things to complain about, honestly. The officiating was interesting, festive. It benefited the Bruins greatly, to be frank, and some player safety decisions also. This year, none of that. None of that. There's a little bit of that here and there. Didn't like this non-call, didn't like that one. The Leafs had plenty of that go their way, too. They did. Dude, look at the first goal of this game. Dude, I thought Tyler Bertuzzi was getting called for sure. It's the third period. Trips up his guy, or the guy tripped, or whatever happened. It sure looked like it in real time. He gets it to Austin Matthews, to William Nylander, scores! Bert out there with Matthews and Nylander. Matthews with it behind the net. On! Oh, stopped. Benoit comes up with it. He's deep. Matthews! Where is it? Blocked. He knocks it loose. Carlo comes up with it. Bertuzzi takes down his man. No call. Matthews sets up Nylander, who scores. Oh, baby. That's going to cause some controversy. But the Leafs score. The dude who got the puck is celebrating. And William Nylander, who called it, this guy, gets the first goal of the game. 10:59 to go in the third period. 2013, they couldn't hold. 2019, they couldn't hold. 2018, they couldn't hold. Can they hold this? But Bruins fans, damn. The Leafs lost fair and square. You won fair and square. I got nothing to complain about in that regard. I don't. It was a tight series, real tight series, obnoxiously tight series. I don't even know if that series was pleasurable to watch for either fan base or any of the other 30. Maybe the outcome. But not throughout. If the Canucks and Predators had the most painful series, this was number 2. This was number 2. The Boston Bruins were incredible. They were incredible. And I know a lot of people have been saying the Florida Panthers are going to smack whoever they play in the second round. First of all, yeah. Second of all, you don't know that. You don't know that. That would have been my prediction for sure. Whoever, if it was the Leafs or the Bruins, the Panthers smacked Tampa in 5. And now they're going to play an exhausted, busted up team. Neither team took over this series, like ever. When the Bruins did get ahead, it's because the Leafs couldn't stop a beach ball. And also they couldn't score a goal! But the Bruins were a big part of the reason that they couldn't score a goal. Jeremy Swayman was a big part of the reason they couldn't score a goal. Now, let's talk about this. Jeremy Swayman, I know a lot of Bruins fans know this, but there's a narrative going on around there, and if a lot of people are going to watch this video, I want to nip it in the bud. Jeremy Swayman was mad, big mad, that the Leafs didn't draft him because they said they might, And the pick comes in the 4th round. I think it's 110th overall. And the Leafs select a goalie who is not Jeremy Swayman. They selected Ian Scott. Jeremy Swayman went to the Boston Bruins with the next pick. That is haunting stuff. And it is the sort of thing that has fueled Jeremy Swayman. And it fueled him through this series. And it fueled him to get a big Game 7 win. Ian Scott was not a bad draft pick. This dude was CHL Goalie of the Year in 2019. He looked like he was going to be incredible. He played 7 pro games. He had to retire in his early 20s due to injuries. In fact, there was one, it was so cruel. He finally rehabs his way back from injuries. He plays one exhibition game with the Leafs. He looks incredible in that exhibition game, and he doesn't even get to complete the one period that he was assigned to play because he was injured. It's just the worst. It's just the friggin' worst. And I just wanted to tell that story because I know it's been out there like, oh, the Leafs made a stupid pick and who the hell is Ian Scott? Ian Scott is a dude who should be playing pro hockey right now, but life's not fair. Our bodies are not fair. Things happen. And speaking of bodies, Joseph Woll did not play in this game. And we don't know why yet. I'm waiting for an injury update. Haven't got it. But he wasn't even the backup for this game after stealing Game 5 and stealing Game 6. What improved for the Leafs in Games 5 and Game 6? They didn't score. The power play still didn't score. What happened in Game 5? Joseph Woll became the starting goalie. And he was incredible in Game 5. And he was incredible in Game 6. And he almost got the shutout. And he didn't. Because the Bruins scored with 0.1 seconds left. And Joseph Woll tried to make a save on a shot that didn't matter and didn't make the save anyway. And if that is the play that he was hurt on, and that is the reason that he couldn't play in Game 7, dude, if you go watch the blueprint clip that the Leafs put on social media, Joseph Woll gets the game puck. And he makes a speech to the guys. And he goes, let's go get a win in Boston. There was a way he said it where I was like, this kid is cold. This kid is cold. And now I watch it in a completely different light. He knew he wasn't going to play. He knew he wasn't going to play. And I don't know what happened. And I know it must have killed him in the moment. But I think he had a strong inkling he wasn't going to be able to play. I don't know what the injury was. Speaking of which, I talked about Auston Matthews setting up the goal. Setting up the one goal that the Leafs scored in this game. I don't know what his injury is either. He had an illness and it turned into an injury. He was pulled by the doctor in Game 4. Couldn't play Game 5, an elimination game. Leafs won anyway. Couldn't play in Game 6, an elimination game. Leafs won anyway. And then he plays in Game 7, battling whatever the hell demons, and he was tied for the Leaf lead in scoring with 1 point, setting up the Leafs' only goal of the game. I mean, what do you want? What else do you want? What I want is a save! Ah! The puck! The puck! The puck! We think Ilya Samsonov has played his final game as a Toronto Maple Leaf. Joseph Woll goes in net. Joseph Woll plays spectacular. Joseph Woll gets hurt. So it's Samsonov again. And all night long, Samsonov hadn't allowed a goal. He hadn't allowed a goal. That's the gig, I guess. But goalies get beat. Goalies get beat sometimes. He hadn't allowed a goal. The Bruins, though, they kept putting a lot of them into his chest. He made a few really good saves. He did. And then the Bruins are getting their opportunities. And, well, I'll just let me walk you through it. Leafs running around a little bit here. Running around. McCabe, strong on the puck, but falls down. Bruins, where is it? Rebound. Over the net. It touched the top of the net. They score. Boston has tied it. Trent Frederick. 9:38 to go in the third. Hampus Lindholm leading the draw. It was someone. Let's see how this happened. It was Hampus Lindholm with 9:38 to go in the third. Boy, you know this is going to be a story tomorrow. Leafs blow a third period lead in 2013 and 2018. We'll see about 2024. The puck hit the top of the net. JVR finds Lindholm. Yuck. I don't know if Sammy was screened or what. Ew. I know if you play with fire, you're going to get burned. And the Leafs were playing with fire, and the Bruins were putting on great pressure. That can't go in, man! I know a goalie's going to get beat. That goal sucks, dude. When did Jeremy Swayman get beat by that in this series? And not have it go off of someone? You know what I mean? When did Jeremy Swayman, games 1 through 7 in overtime, when did Jeremy Swayman get beat like that? When did Linus Ullmark? I wouldn't remember. He only played one game and it was game 2. And they never went back to him. Because they didn't have to. Haunting stuff. Haunting stuff. And now, because the Leafs got the lead in the third period in Game 7 in Boston, and then lost that lead in the third period in Game 7 in Boston, that means 3 times in the last 11 years, the Leafs have had a lead in the third period of Game 7 in Boston and blown it. You're the worst. You're the worst. You're the absolute worst. 3 different goalies did that. 3 different D-cores. Did any of those 3 teams have any overlap? Like in terms of D-core? Riley 2018 and 20 this year. That's got to be it, right? That's got to be it. Like any of the 2013 guys were in 2018? I don't think so. Maybe Gardner? Oh, Gardner. Oh, Gardner. Well, 2, it's not a lot. Wouldn't need overtime if you got a save there. Wouldn't need overtime if you scored more than 1 goal. And we go to overtime. And it's early in overtime. We've been through a lot in this game. There's tons we haven't even talked about. Connor Dewar on his breakaway stopped. Bruins getting some glorious opportunities. Power plays going back and forth. Matthew Knies with the penalty shot that apparently wasn't a penalty shot. And it all comes down to this in overtime. Hampus Lindholm with the play of the playoffs to David Pastrnak. That won't be ice. No way. No shot. 18:20 to go in the first overtime. I mean, we're average. Oh, what a play! Off the boards, series winner. Big play from a big player after being challenged by his coach, David Pastrnak. The Bruins, for the first time in 7 attempts, win an elimination game, and they will go on to the second round to take on the Florida Panthers. An absolutely magnificent play. A magnificent play. Do you want to see my impression of Jim Montgomery calling out David Pastrnak after Game 6, saying Pasta needs to step up? You want to see my impression? There it is. That's my Jim Montgomery impression. Right there, calling out a star, and a star wins the series in Game 7 in overtime. And by the way, my producer reliably tells me that some of you might have found that inappropriate, like I was, no, that wasn't a gesture. It was Jim Montgomery telling David Pastrnak, bounce the bad narratives away. Just simply bounce away from them. That's what he was telling them. It was a magnificent goal magnificent. And Lindholm drew that up. It was beautiful. Pasta drew that up. It was beautiful. And I didn't see it coming. And neither did the Leafs. Jesse Blake found some screenshots. We could just throw them up. We don't even need to throw to them. Mitch Marner coming off the bench. He's with David Pastrnak. I don't know if he knows it. And then David Pastrnak guns it, and Marner doesn't. I'm not saying Marner should have known he was there. Would have been pretty chill if he did. Would have been pretty chill if he did. Would have been pretty chill if Riley got to that puck first. Would have been pretty chill if Samsonov made a save. But Lindholm perfectly puts the puck off the boards. Pasta, lightning speed to the puck. And Ilya Samsonov gave David Pastrnak just a puck-sized hole to shoot at doing the splits. And that's where Pasta put it. Al dente. Just beautiful. A big play from a big player. The Leafs did they get that? Did they? How often did they get it? Look at this. Austin Matthews, like sick and injured, a goal, not the greatest, and 3 assists, 4 points in 5 games. You know? Pretty good, right? Pretty good. Max Domi, making $3 million. Goal, 3 assists, 4 points in 7 games. And also their number 1 center by the end of it. Tyler Bertuzzi, goal, 3 assists, 4 points. William Nylander only played 4 games this series. He led the team in goal scoring with 3! Matthew Knies, 2 goals, 1 assist for 3 points. Mitch Marner in 7 games, 1 goal and 2 assists for 3 points. That's going to go great. He is actually tied for scoring with 2 defensemen, Morgan Riley and Ilya Lyubushkin, with 3 assists each. And John Tavares, oof. Visually, I didn't think he played this bad, but 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points in 7 games. Guys! Here's where we are. And I'm going to explain why everyone who's going is going. The core is getting blown up. However the core gets blown up, fill your boots. Don't know, don't care. I assume Matthews is staying. Scored 69 goals, did pretty good these playoffs. William Nylander just signed an extension, scored 3 goals in 4 games in these playoffs. I assume he's staying. That leaves Mitch and John, who combined for 5 points, by the way. 2 and 3, and 2 goals. They combined for as many goals as Matthew Knies, who's a 21-year-old. They haven't scored... How many times... They haven't scored more than 3 goals in a playoff game since when? Since when? Game 4 of the Tampa series! They have a core 4 of forwards who can't score! Oh, a couple of them scored. The combo doesn't work! It'd be nice if someone else stepped up. It would be nice! You know, Kerfoot scored 6 points in 7 games against Montreal? Ah! You wasted that! The mix doesn't work. It doesn't work. One of them goes down with injuries, you're dead, or they're playing shorthanded at the end of the season, or you don't have a goalie, or you gotta play shorthanded to sign Knies at the end of the season, and all these cap gymnastics and LTIR and university goalies and all this stuff over the years. The mix doesn't work. When have they all been on at the same time? How is this team's problem their consistent, overarching theme problem, goal scoring? It's because the mix doesn't work. With my entire chest, it doesn't work. Stop! Stop! It has to stop. It could be any of them. It could be more than one of them. The list has to be JT, who's going into his final year, and Marner, who's going into his final year. Has to be. Now, the fingerprints of this go back to Dubas. He signed those guys to big money, and they were going to age into their contracts. They were going to get better and better and better, and the cap was going to go up and up and up. The world stopped. The world stopped and the cap stayed flat. And then something happened. 2020 bubble, Leafs took a step backwards heading into COVID. Then they win the Canadian division and blow a 3-1 series lead to Montreal. That was it. That was the moment. Hindsight is 2020. We all wondered if that was the moment to blow it up. And now we know it was. It was. And who's been there the whole time? Steve, you're talking about Dubas. They can't fire Dubas again. No, but they can fire the guy who hired him. Brendan Shanahan was hired in April of 2014. 10 years ago. It's a long time ago. A little over 10 years ago. And he took that team from bad, so bad, to drafting William Nylander. That was his first round pick. And Mitch Marner the next year. And Austin Matthews the next year. And that is the core. And in 2017, they go to the playoffs. And they play the President's Trophy winning Washington Capitals. And they make it interesting. And 5 of the 6 games go to overtime. And the Leafs had a 2-1 series lead. And the Leafs go to overtime on home ice. They had a 1-0 lead in overtime game and lost 2-1 in overtime to lose that game as well. But they get there, and I was there. Game 6, I was there. They lose the series. We cheered them off the ice because of how magical that season was and how low the expectations were. It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Nothing was expected of them anyway. And then the next year, the Leafs take on who? The Boston Bruins. Again. The Bruins had a 3-1 series lead. Again. The Leafs 4-7. Again. They had a third period lead. Again. And the Bruins win anyway. They didn't even need overtime for it. They kind of kicked the Leafs up and down the ice in the third period. But what do we expect of them? What do we say? It's only year 2. It's year 2. Next year, the Leafs are going to be better. Leafs are going to be better. And they get the Bruins again. Oh, here's redemption. And the Leafs win game 1. Oh, Bruins tied up. The Leafs win game 3. Oh, the Bruins tied up. The Leafs win game 5. And it was a tight one. And it literally saved Mike Babcock's job. Leafs lose game 6 horribly on home ice and get destroyed in game 7. And now, okay, we start to ask some questions, but like it's the Bruins and they're a really good team and we'll get them next time. And then it's 2020 and you're one of only 2 teams to have home ice advantage because the playoffs are only being played in 2 buildings. And you couldn't even win a best of 5 against the Columbus Blue Jackets. And then the next year, you wipe the floor with the Canadian division and you get a 3-1 series lead over the Montreal Canadiens. Oh! Ah! Choke! It's the biggest choke probably in team history. Name a worse one. Oh, 2013 Boston Bruins? No. That team shouldn't have been in Game 7. It was another 3-1 series lead that the Bruins blew. The Leafs had a 4-1 lead. Yes, it had never been done before. A 3-goal lead in the third period getting blown. Yes, team should have never been there. Never been there. Go back and watch that game. I've actually gone back and watched it. You can't believe that series went 7. How bad that team is. Even leading up to them getting the 4-1 lead. That team sucked. They were brutal. 2021, ew. Oh, they didn't have John Tavares. They didn't have him the whole way up to 3-1. It started the moment Game 5 began. They sucked. They continued to stink. They rallied back and then they blew it in overtime. All right. Well, Game 6, they stink. They rally back. They blow it in overtime. And in Game 7, they stink. It's their worst game of the series. All right. 2022 against the Tampa Bay Lightning, and you force Game 7, and gosh darn Eric Furlat, who was a ref in this game, calls the pick on Justin Hall. And oh no, the Leafs lose 2-1 in overtime, but as Sheldon Keefe so eloquently put it, there was respect in that handshake line, and somehow things still stay together. And then the next year, this is going to be hilarious. Wait for it. They finally win a playoff series, but then they lose in 5. It's Florida. They went to the Stanley Cup final. But Kyle Dubas has a bad press conference, and he gets fired 5 weeks before the draft and 5 or 6 weeks before Mitch Marner's no move kicks in. So they bring in Brad Treliving. They're like, here you go, Brad. Here's like the most difficult job in hockey. Can you make all the decisions immediately? And he's like, all right, but my old team won't let me even be on the floor until like pick 17 because they're weird. They're so weird. The Flames are really weird and they won't let me do that. So can I like do stuff? And he didn't end up doing stuff. He made a bunch of weird free agent signings. Some of them went well. Some of them went very not well. John Klingberg. Some of them were John Klingberg, all right? And he got put on LTIR. Brendan Shanahan was there for all of it. That's why I just went through that whole diatribe. Well, maybe this year. No, maybe next 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 year. No, maybe this year. No! If it seems like I'm laying it on a little thick, I just told you the amount of times the Leafs have blown it under this guy. There's a new CEO at Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment. Yes, the Leafs make a lot of money if they make the playoffs, and yes, the Leafs always make the playoffs. If they ever won the Stanley Cup, they could buy the moon! And they could win the Spacely Cup every year, being the only team on the moon! Oh, but the media pressure on the moon is, they're the only team! So he's gone. So there it is. Already 1 or 2 members of the core are gone. The president of the team is gone. And here's Sheldon Keefe after a Game 7 defeat.
Sheldon, obviously it was a tight series on both sides. For your team's perspective, what was the biggest challenge generating offense?
Well, they're a very structured team. You know, they do a very good job through the neutral zone, and they protect their net as well, or better than most any team in the NHL. And they were content to do that. You know, they were content to do that. It's very evident. Teams play the Leafs. They set up the game for the Leafs to beat themselves.
No, your internet hasn't frozen. I'm still just... What? Oh my. I can't tell if that's a bar or if he was fired before this press conference began. Never mind referring to the Leafs as the Leafs. As if he's not of them. Sheldon Keefe just signed an extension. It's 2 years. Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment has a lot of money. He's gone. Like, in a few days. I'll be making a video on this channel about how Sheldon Keefe is fired. Dude, this was a chess match of a series. Bruins had the better goalie for sure. They shut down all the Leafs forwards. And they're not even interesting. The Bruins are not even interesting in the fact that they shut down the Leafs forwards. Like, yes, they played a crazy smothering game. They were great in the neutral zone. They were great in front of their net, and they got the saves when they needed it. That's every team the Leafs play. The weird thing about the Tampa series is we're like, damn, they're scoring goals. And they won, by the way. And the power play worked in that one series. This core can't do it of their own volition, right? Since they have become men, like they lost with Mike Babcock when they were boys, they've become men and they have lost for half a decade with this guy. Babcock taught them some things and they were useful. Keith has taught them some things and they were useful. Nope, we're done here. We're done here. Don't have anything against the guy. Pfft, dude, you gotta bring in a new voice there. A new head voice. A new head coach. And there are so many available. You gotta bring them in. So that is what is at stake here. That's what's happening over the next little while. The core is getting blown to smithereens. One or more of them are gone. The president, I'm fairly confident, is gone. Sheldon Keefe, the head coach, I'm fairly confident, is gone. It's not out of the question that Sheldon Keefe will be fired. Brendan Shanahan will be fired. Mitch Marner will be traded. John Tavares will be traded or bought out or something. TJ Brody ain't coming back. Ilya Samsonov ain't coming back. Will Max Domi be back? We'll see. Will Tyler Bertuzzi be back? We'll see. This team is not bad. You need to be good to make the playoffs. You need to be good to go to Game 7 overtime with Boston. But one thing I know for damn sure is this team is not great. If they were, we wouldn't be having this conversation. If they weren't, we wouldn't be having this conversation every single year. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to mourn the loss or rejoice, depends who you ask, of this incarnation of the Toronto Maple Leafs. It was a neat idea. It worked for a time. Some stuff happened. They didn't adjust. Some time passed. And nothing got better. 16. You need to win 16 games to win the Stanley Cup. They get those pucks. They put them in that little wooden thing. You got to take those pucks. You're not giving those pucks. You got to take them from your opponent. And this year, the Leafs matched their second highest total since Shanahan became the president of this team, of the Matthews and Marner and Nylander era. The Leafs matched their second highest total of playoff wins with 3. It's over. Oh, they're always in a series. They're always tight. They always lose. Last year was their best year by far because they actually won a series. They won 5 games. You triple the win total, you're a game short. It's over. It's done. Now, obviously, I'm not done making content. I might need a couple days to get my voice back. We're going to be doing a brand new Steve Dangle podcast tomorrow on SDPN. Highly suggest you go to that channel, you click like, and you click subscribe, and you tell all your friends. When any of those things that I mentioned happened, if someone gets traded or signed or bought out or fired, I'll be making a video for it on this channel. We'll be all over it on SDPN. Adam Wild is going to be streaming the Vancouver Canucks Edmonton Oilers series. And SDPN is going to be streaming the Boston Bruins Florida Panthers series. Because torture. I'm dripping sweat down my neck. I am going to be streaming that series. I don't know if I'm going to be doing game 1. I'm tired. I need a couple days off. And this team needs a shakeup. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Whatever you think the problem is, has been the problem for too long. It's hard to let go of a good team. It's really hard to let go of a good team. But it's all in the pursuit of greatness. And it keeps eluding them. For now, That is it for this season of LFR. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this season of LFR. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Please, it helps out the channel. And tell all your friends. Oh. I still am holding out hope for the day that it finally happens, because these things are going to make it so worth it. I just have no idea when that day is going to show up.